Hey YouTube family, so it's me, Shantel Petway, the creator of Shantel's DB. If you have not already met me virtually, I know it's been a while. It's December 26th, after the holidays, and everybody's probably in the gist of trying to create New Year's resolutions, starting to instill new habits, and things like that. And so on my Instagram, if you're not following me on Instagram, my @name is below. You can follow me there at Shantel's DB. And I've been asking y'all some questions. And so I'm already hopping into this video. I'm at the library. That's why I'm in the parking lot. And I wanted to do a video of a book review. You guys asked for it, and so I'm giving it to you. I have read a total of 10 books this year, y'all. I did not set a goal to read 10 books. I did not set a goal to read any books at all this year, but I found myself reading more books, and it has really been a rewarding experience, to say the least. I know people say reading is fundamental, which it really is, but also reading is for the successful. You never see any public speaking, you never see any successful person who gives a keynote speech or anything like that who does not reference a quote from a book, who does not reference some type of information from a book that they have read. Everything is not online, everything is not digital, everything should not be hearsay. Sometimes you need to get it from the source. And so without further ado, I'm gonna get into the books that I've read. I'm gonna give y'all some quick reviews, and hopefully these books will be in your collection for 2019. I have some of the books here with me. I'm not bringing them into the library. That's why I'm staying in my car, so that I can give y'all this review. And so the first book that I don't know if this was the first book that I read, but it's the first book I'm going to give a review on. And it is this one. Y'all can see Jennifer Lewis, the mother of Black Hollywood. Now, y'all know her. She stars in Blackish, honey. She's everybody's mama. She was up on, what is that, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. She's been in everything, and how can you not love Jennifer Lewis? So I think when this book was like starting to be hot and popular, I was doing a lot of reviews, and she was doing a lot of, trailblazing of her own, doing stuff. She was on the Breakfast Club. She was on a lot of different radio shows. She made guest appearances at different places. And so I was watching those things, and I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and copy this book real quick, because it's a memoir. I like, hearing about people's personal lives and stuff like that. And so some of the things that I got from her book is perseverance. One thing that I know about Jennifer Lewis, from what she has spoken about in her interviews and speaking engagements and things like that, is that she does battle with mental illness. I mean, it is something that she did not recognize at the beginning. She didn't really know it was something that she dealt with, but she had a good friend who told her, baby, maybe this is something that you need to, see about. And that is a gem right there. You need friends in your corner who are not afraid to tell you when something is off, especially health-wise. Like, well, maybe you need to go see a therapist. Maybe you need to go see XYZ. Like, I love you as a person, but because I love you, I'm going to make sure that you are straight, and you need to go see somebody. And so that's gem number one. But just perseverance, because even though she battled with this, it was something within herself that she always knew that she was called to act. She always knew that she was called to bring people to an awareness of mental illness. She was always called to give life to people. Basically, laughter, fun, joy, entertainment. And it was a lot of interesting things in this book, and you should just go get the book, because I don't want to tell the whole story for her. But I mean, just like moving and getting it out the mud, like going to New York, and like basically getting it out the mud, like booking her first like Broadway show and all of this stuff. Like, it's really good. It's really good. It's really a must read. And like, if y'all know Jennifer Lewis, like y'all already know she's animated. She gives life. And so y'all should check this book out. Number two, we're going to switch up the gear. This book, Decolonizing Methodologies by Linda Smith. This is for my researchers, and I'm going to let y'all see that a little bit better. Yes. So this is for my researchers. I am currently a graduate student at the University of Louisville. Y'all can't see my shirt, but I got my Perry on, okay? So this is for my researchers, and specifically my researchers who do not want to have whitewashed research. Now, for some of y'all like, let me fast forward through this part, but it's so true. This is my first time actually doing real research in a way that I didn't do for journalism. Of course, journalism requires investigative reporting, but the research that they require on this level, especially in grad school and then going on to doctoral level, it's really colonized, Western colonized research. Most of information people get from white people about people who are not white and things like this. And so one of my professors this semester had given me this book, and I was like, honey, I don't want to read this. Like, no. But I had flipped to a page and I was like, wow. And so I have it here, I do believe. Oh, honey, I'm not even gonna be able to find it. But one of the subheads is history important for indigenous peoples? And one of the examples I can give y'all from this book to kind of give y'all a glimpse of what this book is about is there were researchers who were doing research on indigenous people, and they were white, and they were writing their research, and they would have the indigenous people fact check basically their research. And so they would, from their experience, their lens as not people who are not of color, they had this experience or this idea, or maybe it was passed down through tradition of, well, this is what this book is. I mean, this is what these people are about. This is why they do this and XYZ. And they give it to the indigenous people, and they would be like, honey, no, this ain't what happened. This is not the truth. That's what they teach y'all up in the schools, but this is not the truth. This is actually what happened. And I think that's really important when you get into research, because it's so easy, especially me doing the work that I'm doing now about juveniles, disproportionality, transfer law, school to prison pipeline, all of those things. It's so important to really get it from the mouth, really get it from the people that you really want to research, not just basing it on what Joe, Dick, and Harry has said, okay? Sometimes you got to get it from the people. So this is a really good book for my researchers, especially people who want to go abroad. Even if you want to be a traveling blogger and you want to blog about people or get the stories of people, it's so important to get the story from the source. Not just what you read, but from the source, because sometimes that history cannot be portrayed right. So Decolonizing Methodologies is a good book. Okay. Here's the next book. Boom. Try God. Now, if y'all want to support me, y'all should go back to, I think it was me and Marcus's first Rules of Engagement series video. And we had on, Try God is by Nachand Trabue. And she is a wonderful person. I know her personally. But we had her shirts on, which have Malachi 3 on them, the Try God shirts, Try God Malachi 3, and I just love her. First and foremost, she is a go-getter. She's the owner of Manhattan on Broadway. She is a public speaker. She's an author. She's a mother. She's a sister. She's a friend. She's a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. She is an alumna of Western Kentucky University, which is my alma mater, and so I just love her. And so she had came to speak at a luncheon that a nonprofit that I'm a board member for, Master Builders Academy. Okay, she came to speak to us, and she was just talking about her journey, and this is kind of what this book talks about, just talking about her journey in the world. She worked for this company, she applied for a position, and she did not get it. And so something in her was like, I should get this. So maybe they're telling me this is just how I can go in this company. And so she stepped out on faith. She tried God after she heard, a message from a pastor. She stepped out on faith. She tried God, and she opened her own business and things like that. And so this book really, it is about her testimony, but at the same time, and I have her business card in here. These business cards look too cute. Okay. But anyway, but like basically the chapters have prayers in them, and basically they challenge you to try God for yourself. And there's areas for you to journal in here. There's different things like from what she when she was trying God, different notes of what she did. And so it's really, I think this book is really pivotal for anybody who's going into 2019, like, listen, I want to do it different. I've been trying it my way. Ooh, and this is what she said. I've been trying it my way all this time. But, baby, now it's time to try God. Now, she might have not have put that baby, but I'm going to put that baby in there. Because, baby, you might have tried it your way, but it's time to try God. Do you hear me? So, if you don't have a copy of Try God, I really encourage you to go get this book by Nachand Trabue. It is such a good book. It's such a good book. She's such a good woman. And even if you like supporting black businesses, if you live in the Louisville area, or if you ever come into Louisville and you want to host something, please go to Manhattan on Broadway. Such a great spot, such great staff, and she takes good care of her people. So far, how many books was that? Did I told y'all 3? Okay. Well, we're going to get into the next one. This has probably been my favorite book. My favorite book all year. And this is Sacred Marriage by, he's at the top, by Gary Thomas. Sacred Marriage. And the subhead is, what if God designed marriage to make us more holy than to make us happy? Okay, listen, I've talked about this on my Instagram. If you are not following me on my Instagram, I encourage you to follow on my Instagram, okay? Talked about this book on my Instagram. I share quotes from this book on my Instagram. I mean, this book is all marked up, honey. I did not play when it came to this book. I encourage this for singles, and I encourage this for engaged couples, and I encourage this for people who are married. This book really breaks down why God designed marriage. It breaks down some of the sections. It breaks down about sex. Like, why did God create sex? So many times, especially for believers, we make sex this weird thing as if God did not create it to be good for husband and wife. Listen here. He created it to be a form of worship. Okay? Listen, it's a good thing. Okay, the two become one in this action. And I mean, he talks about that. And I mean, he makes it very clear in that chapter for sexual saints. Is what it's called. That's chapter 12. It's towards the end of the book. But he talks about, like, if you looking for a book that's about to tell you about positions and this and that, that's not what this is about. We are here to understand why God created this covenant for mere humans like us. Why are we entering into this? And again, like the subhead says, what if God designed marriage to make us more holy than to make us happy? He's not saying that God didn't want us to be happy in marriage, but the goal is for each person to get to heaven. And sometimes, even while I was reading this book, going through my engagement, I started to see things differently. There are things in Marcus that challenge me, or things because I'm in a relationship with Marcus that make me look at myself like, dang, I deal with this, or I still battle with this, and I need to get better. And I think that's what God does. He's very intentional about the person that you should be with, to make you see, listen, honey, you need to fix this, because at the end of the day, you want to get to heaven. You can't get to heaven impatient. You can't get to heaven with anger in your heart. So that's something that you need to work on. And through your spouse, through your partner, through the person that you are seeking God for, they should be turning you towards the cross. They should be turning you towards heaven, and you both should be striving for that to be the end goal. It shouldn't just be, okay, well, I'm gonna compromise and have sex with him, or I'm gonna compromise and do XYZ with her, but at the end of the day, you're sacrificing your salvation. So I'm not gonna get too much into that because I'm already 14 minutes into this video. But Sacred Marriage by Gary Thomas, great book. Next, because this is on my lap, I am not all the way finished, but I'll probably be finished by the end of the year. That's sus. Listen, y'all already know I had to cop sus with them heels that she was strutting in. I had to cop sus. And then what I'm gonna tell y'all so far about this book, because I'm not going to get into it, but Becoming, that already lets you know that this is a book for you for 2019, because you're trying to become something more than what you were this year in 2018. And it don't just start on January 1st, honey. We got to get into the groove of things if we're trying to become. Becoming by Michelle Obama. Such a good book. And honestly, I'm not even trying to say this because everybody want to be Michelle, because I don't want to be Michelle. Actually, I'm going to be Shantel. Okay? But what I have to say about this book is that I can relate to Michelle so much, because there are a lot of things about her personality that are my personality that people made me feel weird about, and I'm just like, man, this was the first lady and she thought kind of how I think. Like, she talks about how back in the day, like, she would just rather play with her, play with by herself with her dolls, instead of having to deal with the drama from other people. I play with their little dolls or whatever. And so I'm just like, girl, I'll be the same way. But she was like, there came a time where she was like, listen, her parents were like, her mom was like pushing her, like, you need to be a little more social, like, you need to get out on the block with the kids. And I feel like that was so me. Like, I can really be cool with just being with myself and being with my family, but there's always been a push, I feel like, by God for me to be like, you need to be social, like, you need to get out there. And I'm so glad that I did. But I think this is a great book, and it really tells us, and that's one thing that I think going into the new year that many people need to know, is that when you are becoming who you are, so good, especially when you move from one transition to the next. I mean, whether you broke up, whether you're getting married, whether you graduated, you are becoming something more. So when she left the White House, she had to sit back and say, who is Michelle? Who am I becoming? And so, y'all already know. I shouldn't even have to tell y'all, but y'all need to go ahead and get Auntie's book. Okay. This book, I had started reading this in 2017, never finished. The came off, but this is called Leaders Eat Last by Simon Sinek. And if you consider yourself a leader, this is a really good book. It's a really good book. I mean, he uses analogies about the military, about how the younger military people always eat first, and then, the leaders, they eat last. And it's really good because it makes you think, as a leader, I'm having to account for what's going on. And as a leader
in my church, I feel like it's so important. Like, I need to be looking. I need to be on the prowl. So I eat last at the end of the day. And I have to look out for the interests of other people, and it just gives you a lot of good tools to work with. Talks about the culture of the culture that you create, and building trust with the people who are following you, and how important that is in the long run. I mean, it talks about, the different endorphins and what they do for you as a leader, and the people who are following you. And so this is a great book to read. Amazing.
This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is 6 books so far. One book that I don't have with me, I read through a PDF because I didn't want to buy the book. This was a school book, but it's called Pedagogy of the Oppressed by Paulo Frierre, and I will leave that for you. Now, if y'all claiming that y'all woke and y'all have not read this book, baby, you're sleeping. Baby, you're snoozing, because this book is so good, y'all. Like, this man was ahead of his time, Paulo Frierre. I think he's from Brazil or somewhere like that. I mean, it was written in the 60s, but it's really about how, basically how the oppressed moved from that state, and it challenged the oppressed, the oppressed. It talks about, being able to think critically about the situations that we're in. I mean, it's a good book. I mean, it has some depth to it as far as the words. Sometimes you're gonna have to take a break from the book because the words that he uses, oh my gosh, it's like, what did he say? Like, this is a book where you can't just speed through. Like, this is a book that's going to make you critically think about how you view oppression, how you view the press, who are the oppressors, how, if you are in a majority group, this is a book for you to read. If you are the oppressed, this is a book for you to read, because it really can start to make you think, well, am I just, conforming to the ways of the world or whatever? And so I'm gonna leave a link for this book below since I don't have it physically. But Pedagogy of the Oppressed is a really great book by Paulo Frierre. I think since I've been reading this book, I have been quoting this book, and I feel like, like, girl, you are in there. Like, you are you're establishing that successful mindset, because successful people read and successful people quote what they read. Do you hear me? So that's a good book. If you're trying to up your game, if you think you woke or whatever, like, you should have been done read this book. So Pedagogy of the Oppressed by Paulo Frierre. So that is the next book that I've read on iBook was 31 Prayers for My Future Husband. This book is basically a book of prayers. I know they have a Bible app on this too, but it's not the full book, and I encourage you to get the book. I mean, the book was only like $5.99 on Apple. And so the book is really good. 31 prayers, but these prayers is deep. They're intense. They have challenges throughout. Like, the last challenge was to write a letter to your future spouse. And so, I mean, it was stuff that I prayed for. And Marcus really didn't know that I was reading this book, but it's stuff that I pray for that I see even now changes in him. It prays against, pornography and lust and those type of things, sexual things. It talks about leadership. I mean, and there's also a 31 prayers for my future wife as well. And I just think, like, if you are looking to be married, if you're engaged, or even if you are married, I think there is a 31 prayers for my husband, 31 prayers for my wife. But if you can't really find the words to say, even though the Holy Spirit can give you those words.
If you can't find the words to say, I think this is a really good book to invest in. It's an easy read. Like I said, I have it on my iPhone, and you can listen to it. You can listen to the prayers. You can highlight those prayers. If it's yours, you can print it out and all of those things.
The next book that I read from my mentor, do you hear me? Michael E. Ford Jr. This is his first book, and he is a leader in my church. I mean, I really esteem him very highly. And he just came out with his book is 24, and I'm going to leave the link below. But this was a really good read as well. Like I said, when you have it on your phone, you can always listen to it, and you can always read through it. And that was really good for me. And sometimes it's cheaper. I think when he came out with this book, I don't know where I was financially, but I had to get it in support. But at the same time, it's cheaper that way. And this book, I mean, Brother Mike is what I call him. So he was a retired firefighter. He was chief over the fire department in Louisville, Kentucky. And so it's just like, when you look at the book, you might think, oh, well, this is only about firefighting. But this book is about life. Do you hear me? What can happen in a day? Everything can happen in a day. And even as a firefighter, there are so many things you see and so many lessons to be taught. And he talks about dealing with different people. He talks about family life. And so it's so much like, if you want to up your game, if you really want an encouraging book that's going to not only challenge you but help you get to where you want to be, then I think this is a book for you. Again, you can find this book at Borders Books A Million. You can get it from his website, and I'll leave that link below as well. You can get it also, like I said, on the Apple, on the bookstore. And so this is a great book for you to read. Again, I don't have it physically, but it's on my phone, and it's a book you do not want to miss out on. People have sat down and read this book in a day, and I'm telling y'all, that book is no joke. That book is no joke, and he is no joke himself. If you even Google him, the work that he has done in this city, it is admirable. And if you want to support somebody who supports his community, who supports young people, who supports the growth of entrepreneurs, then that is a book for you. Do you hear me? Okay. And so I think, how many books we got? Number 10. And this is a devotional book, Kingdom Marriage Devotional by Tony Evans. This was given to me by my friend Taya. And it's just literally a book of devotions. Kingdom couples honor each other. Kingdom couples share a goal. Kingdom couples overcome. This book is talking about what kingdom couples do. There are questions and challenges in the back of this book. This is a really good book of devotion that you should go through with your significant other. I think it really challenges you to think, well, do I honor my spouse? How are we fighting together? How do we kingdom husbands lead spiritually? Kingdom couples answer to Christ. How do we hold ourselves accountable? there's so many good gems in this book that I think anybody who wants to do marriage God's way, or who has been trying it their way for so long but they need a different way, I think this is a book that you should invest in. It's very small, but it's very impactful. And so that is my book review. Those are my book reviews. I think I'm going to add one more book to this year, which will be Gay Girl Good Guy by Jackie Hill Perry, because I just got a Lifeway gift card for Christmas. Shout out to Tremaine. And so this has been longer than I expected, but I hope you guys pick one of these books and tell me, what books have y'all read? What books have you read this year? Drop them below so I can add them to my 2019 list. And a book that should really go without mention, I've been reading the Bible. So y'all know that book is the living word. It's always inspiring. It's always something new. So I encourage y'all to read that book as well. But again, drop y'all books below. Please comment, like, and subscribe this video, you guys. I will be coming through with the content, y'all. I really am about to come through with the content, so get ready. Boop. Okay, bye.